The rearview mirror can make things look smaller. The illusion of optics confuses us, tricks us. The black and white image that moves. For audiences 120 years ago, it was an illusion that confounded them. The novelty of it was enough for a while, but then the audience expected something else. They expected a story. We think of George Melies today as a magician that made curious little trick films. Oh yeah, the moon with the rocket in its eye. The metaphor even works today. It's that powerful. When he began his career as a magician, the Lumiere brothers were perfecting their moving picture system. The French public was familiar with the spectacle, the immersive experience, through elaborate stage dioramas and theater productions. Motion pictures were just another device to fit into this world. It would be some time before it would become a world unto itself. Melies' first films leaned on simple tricks. He discovered the idea of stop motion, which allowed him to make objects appear and disappear. Film became a way to manipulate reality in a way that he couldn't with conventional magic. He framed these productions inside the environment that was static, staged. The camera rarely moved from its fixed position, which was that of an audience. The language of cinema is now so pervasive that it is like a mirror. We can't see the language in its use, for it is a part of our language. He used what were obvious things to us today. Double exposures to create copies of musicians, objects appear and disappear, appropriated theater devices. However, in the process, the abilities of film to manipulate time and space modified his work. It became something more. Cross dissolves. By using a combination of opening and closing the iris, combined with backwinding of film, a new metaphor is born. The cross dissolve. We take this for granted today, but before this moment there was nothing quite like it. Cross dissolves imply a passing of time or a change of location, a narrative device that's part of our language but has no real-life counterpart. Use of color. It became necessary for Melies to hand-tint film because it was a popular thing to do with daguerreotypes at the time. Color becomes an optical tool, a literal kaleidoscope. It had a luminescent quality that's not quite real. It is almost, but not quite the same thing as rotoscoping. That would come next. Melies' problems are well documented. His films were pirated, and he never received payment for many of the screenings. The audience itself tired of trick films. 5 years after making his tour de force, A Trip to the Moon, which contained just about everything Melies had learned about film, he still had not moved beyond the metaphor of the stage. His films were mostly gag films. It would be those that came next that would take what he demonstrated and add to film language. Melies fortunately did not die penniless. He did go into bankruptcy, but many years later the Cinema Society bought him a place to live, and he began performing again. Many of his films, over 500, were lost, as he did not value them himself. It is because there were so many prints, legal or not, that we have a record of his work.